The apartment is in the Jordaan area in Amsterdam, situated on the ground floor with a small garden. The idea was to create a space that was able to fit normal-sized furniture. We wanted to bring in as much natural light as possible and maximize storage.
We also love cooking and entertaining, so we took the opportunity to have a full-size kitchen and also sneaked in a minibar.
We designed and custom-made all the cabinetry, furniture and joinery in a workshop located in Amsterdam.
My name is Marijn Kruidmeijer. I'm a woodworker, designer and founder of ME Studio in Amsterdam.
And my name is Leah Young. I'm a pitch coordinator at a law firm and we live here together with our dog Jip. The apartment is located in the city center of Amsterdam, one of the most historic parts of the Netherlands, between the canals and around the corner of the Anne Frank house. But in the apartment itself, you don't notice anything about the crowds. We think it's important for designing a small space that we shouldn't compromise on living enjoyment. For example, our kitchen, it's a normal sized kitchen. There's a dishwasher, there's an oven.
Large TV, so you can sit with 4 people on the couch.
A dining area. It isn't big, but you can still have dinner here with 8 people.
The building was built in 1905. The previous owner had the building foundation repaired and delivered it as an open space with only the basic structural elements, but lacked features like flooring, plumbing and electricals. When we bought the apartment, there was no floor plan, so we had complete freedom to come up with a new layout.
At the back was the old kitchen. We could tell by the remains of a fireplace and soot on the wall. We moved the old kitchen to the middle of the house to create a long kitchen. We extended the house at the back so that we could create a bedroom. This required the demolition of a wall and also bring more natural light into the house by installing large French doors. We divided up the rest of the space using a smart unit as the centerpiece and created a living room, bathroom, toilet and dining room. The apartment is situated on the ground floor and has a private entrance. The front facade has been restored by the previous owner.
The dining area is by the window at the front of the apartment. The dining table is solid oak with a cast iron leg. There is a corner seat made of oak plywood with velvet upholstery. It also has storage for our shoes. A large mirror hangs above the seat and it reflects the space to make it appear larger.
There are pleated curtains that provide privacy during the day but plenty of natural light. In the evening they can be completely closed.
Everything here was custom made to better fit in the space.
There are 2 large hidden doors next to the TV. We covered the doors in a moss green wallpaper. Behind the left door is the toilet. There's a floating toilet, small white sink with black tap. As the toilet sits under the neighbor's stairs, there's a slight slope in the ceiling, but it doesn't really affect the use of the space, and we think it's worth it to have a separate toilet. The toilet feels like taking a step back in time with its green wooden paneling, offering a playful nod to the historic Jordaan district.
The dining space is connected to the kitchen. The kitchen is floating with lights underneath for a spacious feel. The top is quartzite with a high backsplash and a narrow shelf in the same material. There is an induction hob with integrated hood, a tap providing boiling, sparkling and filtered water, and a sink. 3 wall lights provide the ambience in the kitchen. The kitchen fronts and drawers are dark smoked oak to contrast it from the rest of the apartment.
Opposite the kitchen is a large oak slat wall unit where the built-in dishwasher, oven, fridge and more storage space for kitchen appliances. The unit is not really a wall, but a large storage for our kitchen appliances that would not have been possible with a floating kitchen. It also acts as a divider between the kitchen and the bathroom while providing storage for both areas. In addition, a niche has been created for the coffee maker.
From the kitchen, you enter the living space. You see a large window where daylight can come in from the bedroom. There's a large white corner sofa against the wall. On the right is a large custom oak cabinet with space for all our memories, cooking and reading books.
The TV is hidden inside the bottom cabinet and emerges through an electronic lift mechanism. This allows us to tuck away the TV when we are not using it.
Additionally, there's a bar hidden behind pocket doors with a mirror including wine racks and racks for wine glasses. We placed a mirror at the back of the wine and glass racks to add an illusion of volume. It makes you feel like you're in a little bar when using the space.
The bathroom is through a hidden door. The white tiles and blue walls create a spaciousness and a fresh look. On the left, you find a floating sink including drawers. We use the same quartzite counter as the kitchen. There's a heated towel rack and a large built-in closet with push-to-open doors for even more storage space. On the inside of the door is a fitting mirror milled in. Besides using it as a mirror, it also reflects the small space to make it appear larger. The walk-in shower has a rain shower head and a niche for shampoo. The bathroom has a dropped ceiling which hides the mechanical ventilation.
The bedroom is located at the back of the apartment. The bed has a cork back wall with built-in sockets to conceal a phone charger and 2 wall lights. Surrounding the bed is a custom-made built-in wardrobe where there is space for clothes. It is pre-finished plywood in terracotta. There is a white built-in cupboard for washing machines and dryer. A built-in desk helps to create a small office space when working from home.
There are 2 doors leading to the garden. The door next to the desk is used as entrance to the garden. In the summer, we open up all the doors, including the large French doors for cross ventilation. The window between the living room and bedroom can be closed using a curtain for privacy. When the curtains are open, it brings natural light into the living space.
At the back of the apartment you can find our garden. It is the extension of our home where we can escape the daily rush of the city. There is a dining table for eating outside in nice weather and a small lounge area at the back.
We believe that living in a small space is not a limitation if you are creative and innovative. It is also considered a sustainable choice. It promotes efficient use of resources and reduces environmental impact. One of the key advantages is reduced energy consumption. Heating, cooling and lighting a small area requires less energy compared to a larger space.
It promotes a more minimalistic lifestyle. With a small space, you are motivated to declutter and focus on essential items.
Our main idea was to create maximum spaciousness by keeping the space for storage as compact as possible. It was all about finding the perfect balance between light flowing space and compact fixed space.
We were living in the other side of Amsterdam and decided to move to the Spaarndammer area because we like the pleasant and quiet streets. Although the neighborhood is situated quite close to the city center, the area is also quite calm.
The apartment is built in 1916 and it used to be a social housing block. But back then people didn't have a bathroom, they used to go to the public bath nearby.
The building consists partly of social housing apartment and is partly owned by private owners.
When we first found the apartment, it was totally stripped down and it was one big open space.
We looked into our daily habits and built demo spaces using cardboard boxes and our furniture. This allowed us to test the space before making final design decisions.
The upper level was a storage, which was only accessible via an external staircase.
The biggest change to the floor plan was to connect the upper storage area to the apartment by means of an internal staircase. This storage area was converted into the bedroom.
The bathroom wall was shifted towards the new kitchen to make it more comfortable to use. Living, sleeping, cooking and working are now all situated close to the window openings, making these spaces feel light and airy.
At the entrance there is a semi-enclosed space which provides a bit of privacy when entering the door. There is a floating wooden shelf for shoes and everyday storage. The living room is at the front side of the apartment facing the street. This room hosts a sofa, a sitting corner, a cabinet with bookshelves that is part of the big wall of cabinets and the television.
The flooring throughout the apartment is made from PVC. It has a light concrete polished floor look and is easy to clean and maintain.
From the living room we can access the small balcony.
The space between the living room and the kitchen is the heart of the apartment. There is a floor-to-ceiling wall of storage made from an oak veneer with plenty of closed storage spaces, as well as an open space on the edge of the story wall. We placed a mirror on the wall to check our outfits as we head out, and it also reflects the surrounding spaces.
The kitchen and dining rooms are combined into one open space, which is placed at the other end of the wall of cabinets.
Just like in the living room, the wall of cabinets ends in the kitchen with shelves for cookbooks and wine glasses. At the other end of the room, we have a wall of cabinets with a lot of storage for kitchen appliances. The fridge and freezer are integrated. The main kitchen space is finished in black and is a great contrast against the oak veneer storage. The upper storage has a light strip along the length of the wall. We have an induction hob, range hood, stainless steel sink and an oven and a dishwasher.
A simple wooden dining table, which can seat up to 6 guests, is positioned along the second balcony doors. It is lit by direct sunlight the whole afternoon and into the evening and acts as an extension to the dining room.
The office can be reached from the kitchen and still forms one continuous space with the other spaces of the apartment.
The boiler, washing machine and cleaning supplies are tucked away in a floor-to-ceiling cabinet inside the office space, with an integrated desk facing the inner garden, creating a quiet place to work.
The bedroom is situated upstairs and can be reached by the stairs within the wall of cabinets. The cabinets extend into the bedroom and form the balustrade with integrated shelves.
By the stairs, there is an open rack where we hang our clothes. The bed sits in front of a large window and gets a lot of warm light throughout the day.
The bathroom is placed next to the entrance and has a toilet, shower and sink. We added a new shower, built into the other side of the kitchen storage wall.
This allows the bathroom to be used by 2 people at the same time. We also built floating shelves into the wall above the toilet and sinks.
With the right tools, we believe that even small and outdated apartments can be made suitable for young city dwellers. Usually, the proportions of space in existing housing offer huge potential for an efficient layout.
If smart layouts and clean aesthetics are matched with an eye for detail, we think literally every space can offer generous living conditions on a small footprint.
My philosophy when it comes to designing small spaces is to iterate until it feels right. It also helps a lot if you live in the space and can really try out what works for you. My name is Koen Vrijman and I love to make things. I've made sculptures for light art festivals, I've made exhibitions, and I've also made most of the things you can see around here. I live in this loft with my girlfriend, Vadim, and our cat, Sok. In the 90s, the municipality of Amsterdam transformed this district. All the houses could be built without any aesthetical restrictions. So all the houses in the street look completely different. This apartment building was finished in 1998. This unit was owned by my mother and we decided to buy it from her and renovate it by ourselves. The loft is 45 square meters. We fell in love with a high ceiling, big windows opening up to the waterfront and the playfulness of the layout. In this space there's a loft floor where you could sleep on. On the lower floor there was a kitchen and a living space. We added a kitchen island to the kitchen. We built a frame around the bed. We also extended the terrace by having a floating deck. The entrance is pretty small, so we try to keep it clean and clear, so you can look straight through the house and see the water. The coats are hung in a cabinet around the corner, so they are not in the way when entering or leaving the house. There's a mirror above the door to bounce the light around in this corner of the apartment. The ceiling light in the hall came from Turkey. I found it in an abandoned factory in Istanbul and brought it home in my hand luggage. The shoes are stored in a cabinet on the loft floor, which also blocks the line of sight into the sleeping area. There are some pretty big plants in the living room area. Our windows are all facing the south, so there's plenty of light coming in. The thing I'm most proud of is the TV. We suspended it by a rail on the ceiling so it can be moved back and forth. When it's placed on the wall, there's actually a sculpture on the back of it. The eye-catcher of the living room is the pink cabinet, backed by green tiles. The cabinet stores a lot of stuff and features a hidden desk and a hiding place for our cat. The left side doubles as a scratching surface, which was a great idea at the time, but in reality she prefers to scratch our couch. We placed the green tiles ourselves, and one of the hidden gems is the tile in the corner, which was made by us. It features our own signatures. We like the simpleness and the calmness of the original grey kitchen, so we decided to keep it and extend it with a kitchen aisle. My girlfriend loves to cook and spices are really important, so we made a huge spice rack above the kitchen aisle. This is an actual street lamp which we got from the municipality. We converted it to the kitchen light. The washing machine used to be in the kitchen. We moved it to the bathroom to make space for a dishwasher. The round table is a nice contrast to all the other square furniture in the house. Normally it doesn't take up too much space, but extended it can host up to 8 people. The bed is surrounded by a set of curtains. These help with keeping the mosquitoes and light out, and it can create a separate zone when sleeping. We have 2 smaller electric roller blinds, deflecting some of the sunlight on sunny days or for privacy. We only had 1 remote. We made a playful solution to have the remote accessible from each area in the house. We have floor-to-ceiling mirrors on our wardrobes for a more spacious feeling and extra light. The light switches are located in the entrance, which is very inconvenient when you're lying in bed. Luckily, I had a huge industrial switch laying around, which I had found in an abandoned factory in Belgium. I made an open drying cabinet, which has plenty of room for our wet clothes. It also doubles as a room divider. The bathroom is next to the hall. I found a small washing machine that could squeeze into our bathroom. After figuring out how to install the water pipes, I also built a custom cabinet around the washing machine. A very neat feature of our bathroom cabinet is the integrated litter box for our cat. We expanded the outdoor space by building a floating terrace. This was a very challenging build because we had to build it indoor, then partly deassemble it, move it around the central column and then reassemble it outside again. The style here, it's a combination of many personal things. For example, things I found, like the switches, the lights, trying to keep everything neat, so having a lot of dressers and things to tuck things away. I like to make things myself, and that really creates a certain style. It's a really combination of existing elements. That's how the style here evolved.
If you're sleeping on a sofa bed right now, it's largely because of this family. Multifunctional furniture as we know it was pioneered by Campeggio, a family business and brand founded in 1959, halfway between Milan and Lake Como. If you don't know the name Campeggio, you should, because we have a lot to thank these godfathers of what they call convertible furniture. We take convertible furniture for granted these days. Walk into any luxury showroom and you'll find sofas that become beds, beds that become lounge sets that split and divide, cell-like, into chairs, chairs that morph back into sofas. Flexibility is a core principle of modern design, but Campeggio were making multifunctional furniture before the industry even had a name for such things. Our current favourite is Brando, produced by Campeggio and designed by the award-winning Giuseppe Arezzi, a collapsible camp bed that resembles a giant upholstered centipede. Part chair, part recliner, part poof. Brando looks delightfully like it's about to crawl out of the living room door.
I designed this apartment around my family. I wanted to maintain the spacious feeling we experienced when we first entered the space. I was inspired by the existing qualities of the building, like the wooden beams, the shape of the roof, the bearing wall and the natural light within the apartment. Furthermore, we wanted to have comfort in terms of warmth and natural materials, but also in terms of stability. My name is Michiel Hilbrink. I'm a visual artist and interior designer. My partner and I like the house to be calm and quiet, a place to recharge and celebrate family and small social activities. The apartment is in a neighborhood called Transvaalbuurt in Amsterdam East. The Transvaalbuurt has many big old social housing blocks that have recently been renovated. The apartment is between 2 parks. There are many nice coffee and dining places within walking distance, and it's a mix of new and old inhabitants. The apartment building was built in 1924 as a social housing complex. The top floor was an attic, but turned into apartments during the renovation. They were delivered as just a bare shell. There was only the central wall in the middle of the house and the wooden construction beams above. The idea was to have the furniture pieces float above the ground, which adds to the spacious feeling and makes the floor seem bigger. Our inspiration for the furniture pieces come from minimalist and modernist designs. In that way, the space has a somewhat timeless quality. The first thing I did was to add a bathroom and a small nursery. The bathroom and nursery is parallel with the central wall, thus making a hallway from the entrance to the main space. From the hallway, we kept a large open plan space for the kitchen, living and dining. Finally, with a 5-meter high ceiling, we created a mezzanine bedroom above the living area. At the entrance, there's a narrow but lofty corridor that leads to the main space of the house. We designed a wooden niche to hold our coats and umbrellas and the shoes below. There is another hidden door to a utility closet that we use to store cleaning supplies and other items. The kitchen, dining and living rooms are part of the same space. The size of the kitchen block is a shallow oak veneered cabinet for books as well as kitchen storage. This mix of functions make the division between the kitchen and living room softer. The kitchen block has a separate fridge and freezer, an oven and a dishwasher. On the top is an induction cooktop with a built-in exhaust fan installed flush with the surface. The top of the block is made of black HPL. At the end of the block is a small overhang with 2 bar stools underneath. You can have dinner together or work during the day. Below is a socket to charge a laptop or for kitchen appliances. In the back corner of the kitchen is a similar cabinet as the one on the other side, tucked under the roof corner. The kitchen and the 2 side cabinets all have the same height. The diagonal lines of the roof, the kitchen block and the cabinets form a composition of shapes. Between the kitchen block and the Fitsu shelving system is the dining table. It fits exactly in the space. The dining table has a linoleum top in conifer. We added 4 green chairs just for the pop of color. Behind the diagonal beams in the corner there's a little nook for books. In the living room is a cozy area that shares the same open plan space with the kitchen and dining rooms. The dormers in the living area have an extraordinary height of 2.6 meters. The size of the windows allow ample amounts of light throughout the day. The Richard Lampert lounge chair and the sofa have both low design, which perfectly fit under the mezzanine roof. On the sofa one can get a feeling of being embraced in a cozy space. This is due to the lower ceiling under the mezzanine, while still maintaining a connection with the dining and the kitchen areas. Under the stairs is more storage space. A custom 3-door cupboard offers space for clothing. I made it extra deep to have a secret shelf behind for small boxes and personal items. From the hallway, there's a door that leads to a nursery. Before our son was born, the room was my office. We added an IKEA storage unit on the wall for his clothes. As it is under the dormer window with a shorter ceiling height, not using a bed frame makes the space feel bigger. In this room we added navy blackout curtains to help him sleep. And I built a small bookshelf below for his toys, books and a Mivi lamp. The bathroom is located by the entrance. The overall design is a calm and minimal composition of wood, grey and white materials. I wanted to have soft lights and tones in the bathroom, so I chose to use wall lights, some sconces and a LED tube light above the basin. Even though the bathroom is a compact space, it holds many functionalities like a washer, dryer, vanity, a storage, toilet and a spacious shower. The bathroom has a large dormer window that provides plenty of natural light during the day. The grey bathroom tiles are 60-year-old tiles from a French factory that I found online. I used it on the wall and the floor because I didn't want to have too many different materials. In the back of the apartment, the mezzanine, cupboards and stairs are designed as one whole unit. The mezzanine doesn't feel small, since there is a 1.6 meter high window letting in natural light. A small window looks down below and makes the space feel a bit more open. The bedroom offers space for a queen-sized bed. On the wall around the bed, we added wooden skirting that is the same material as the floor. It also doubles as a bed head. The steel balustrade prevents falling over the edge. It's open so more light is transmitted between bedroom and the living room. The mezzanine, cupboards and stairs are finished in oak veneer. The mezzanine floor has holes for ventilation. This unit is supported by the bearing wall on one side and hangs from the roof on the other. This means it doesn't require a beam to be placed in the middle of the living room. The result is a tiny bedroom mezzanine that burrows under the rooftop. It's fun to look down and see what is going on below. The communal courtyard is shared with all inhabitants of the building. In the warmer months, people enjoy the silent and lazy atmosphere. In a small space, when you are limited to size, you have to make choices based on what you think is most important to you. I simply wanted to maximize space, light and comfort in all kinds of ways. As a result, the apartment as a whole has been kept open as much as possible, while the bedroom and the nursery are small and cozy in contrast.
We wanted to create an apartment that looks a little bit like a hotel. We wanted to keep things quite simple in terms of the design. Natural materials is something that really inspired us, and that gave the base palette for the apartment.
And it created the perfect canvas to feature all the objects that we wanted to collect.
We live here with our dog, Mr. Fox. He loves to sit by the window and look around.
This apartment is located in the Jordaan, which is a neighborhood in the center of Amsterdam.
The Jordaan is one of the most traditional neighborhoods in Amsterdam. It's very touristic in a way. People come to see the canals, the old houses. It's a very authentic neighborhood, and we decided to choose this apartment because it's located in the Jordaan, but in a very calm area. This building is pretty old. It's from 1901.
So the facade faces the street. On the back side is like most of the houses in Amsterdam, where it faces a courtyard. This one is specifically special because it has a kids park with some chickens and rabbits.
We designed the dining table and the dining pendant light, and the rest we collected in vintage markets as the sofa, the side table, the dining chairs. That's very common in Amsterdam, that you can find pretty good pieces in the street, which is quite nice. We wanted to have a place to gather objects that we collect, but also to bring our friends, family, and collect memories.
The apartment was a pretty standard looking Amsterdam apartment. The main thing was that the bathroom was closed off and there was no natural light coming in.
We really wanted natural light, so we decided to separate the toilet and the shower and opening the shower towards the bedroom area. We also added a bathtub and a vanity in the bedroom area so that we could use that in the mornings with natural light. We removed the L-shaped kitchen in the corner and we extended it to create this open and light feeling.
Upon entering the apartment, on the right you see the kitchen, dining room and living room.
The living room is really connected to the dining, so it's essentially one space.
but we still wanted to have a separation in terms of use. The main item is a vintage sofa. The nice thing about the space is that you really look out the window and you get good natural light. The sofa has a metal plate on the bottom that reflects the floor and makes the illusion that the sofa is floating. Above the sofa we have a light. We can use it for reading, but if we want a more moody or atmospheric light, we can either turn it against the wall and have soft light, or also to light the painting. In the kitchen we use a travertine top that is very similar to the side table in the living room, and this was a decision in order to create a continuity of the materials in the house. And we also have beautiful handles to create a contrast with the black cabinets. The kitchen is fully equipped, so we have an oven and stove area, a dishwasher, and by the end of it we have our pantry and the fridge. It has a shelving above where we display a lot of kitchen items but also decorative items that we like. The highlight of the kitchen area is the pendant light that goes above the table. We designed it fully in brass, and underneath it we have the dining table, which we specifically designed for the house. Opposite to the corridor, we have the bedroom. When you enter the bedroom, on the left-hand side, you have a spacious bed. We have a big wardrobe. Our favorite part of the house is the bathtub. We like the ritual of using a bathtub. We just enjoy taking a bath and reading a book and really taking the best out of the spa, hotel-like experience that we wanted to create.
While in the bathtub, we have views of the outside, so we can have a bath, relax, and see the sky outside. The sink has skinny legs, so it makes it feel like it's floating in the air. Next to the mirror, we have a brass finish wall light that we found in the vintage market. We created a ledge not only to display styling items, but also to run all the piping for the vanity and the bathtub.
Next to the sink, we have the shower area where we chose for a Japanese handmade tile. You could place it on the floor as well because of the anti-slip characteristic, and we wanted to again simplify the amount of finishes that we have throughout.
With the flooring, we chose to continue the parquet we had running through the house. The floor has a dark oil finish which keeps the water away.
The decision to separate the toilet from the rest of the bathroom was also thinking about guests. Bruno is a graphic designer. He was part of developing this very special wallpaper. And because it's a more outstanding style, we decided to use it in the toilet, which is a closed-off space. And as you open it, it really creates this wow effect. For the curtains, which we chose to give privacy on both sides as we have neighbors, we chose linen curtains acting as shears, so the light still goes through but it creates privacy. On the bedroom side, in addition to the shears, we added wooden blinds. We love the effect that it creates when we leave it half open and the sun goes through. The art pieces we chose for our apartment, they are mostly from our friends, both because we love the style and fits really well to the house, but also in order to support the local artists.
Upgrading existing spaces reduces the need to have new construction and create a positive impact on the environment.
We can just use what is there and make it really comfortable, practical, and aesthetically beautiful.
My name is Sjoerd Kluijmans. I'm an architect at Heren 5 Architects in Amsterdam.
My name is Jordaan. I'm architect and partner at Heren 5.
We're here in the north of Amsterdam in an area called Buikslotherham. Used to be an old industrial area, but now it's being transformed into a residential site.
The apartment was delivered in 2016 and is part of a bigger block.
We designed the rest of the block as well.
And we designed this apartment as a range of 3 apartments for the owner, who lives there with 3 generations, his mom, himself, and this apartment is going to be for his daughter.
The apartment is 45 square meters.
It was a single-sided apartment, and on the front side apartment we have functions like cooking and dining, where you have the most light, and as you get back into the apartment, the more private functions are like the sleeping room and the bathroom.
The apartment is 3.2 meters in height, so that gives us the opportunity to design a really efficient way of sleeping on top of these functions, which opened up the rest of the practical room for the main living functions. In our office we always like to work with other disciplines, with furniture designers, with product designers, and in our network we had Paul Timmer, which is also a friend of us, and together we worked further on the design.
Hi, I'm Paul. I'm a product designer and I built this place. The single unit consists of the bedroom, bathroom and some storage inside, but it's a piece of furniture. There's a pretty significant grid as tiles of the plywood on the outside. It goes all the way around. We choose the plywood material for its color and texture. It's nice and light, durable, and it gives a good warm feeling to the apartment. The living space is on a platform, and in the platform there's some extra storage for a mattress for guests. And with the stairs from the living room you can go to the sleeping space. The staircase is designed so that exactly 3 steps go into 1 tile. We designed the stairs not to be like a big bulky thing, but to be almost like part of the grid and make it very airy, to have some space underneath, like it's almost not there. If you go up the stairs you enter the sleeping space. There's space for quite a big 2-person mattress. And on top of the kitchen and on top of the bathroom, there's still a lot of space left and right from you to leave your books, your laptop. This is like a freestanding unit, right? It's a big piece of furniture, and we don't want to separate spaces. We just want one big piece of furniture with several functions in it in the middle of the room. So to make it more furniture-like, we edged off all the corners to make it like something really special standing out in the middle. What makes it easier to pass and not such a hard corner. In the kitchen we used with the same diamond edge corner as in the rest of the unit, but it's flipped over. So it has the detail on the lower side, almost on the floor. It gives the same effect, like it's almost freestanding, floating, and it makes it very luxurious, right? To have an island in a small apartment like this.
For a small apartment like this, we do have a big kitchen, completely equipped with all furniture and all electrics. The kitchen has a fridge, it has an oven, a cooking plate and ventilation above it.
This apartment is designed for a young woman, and therefore we have a lot of storage space in the back of the apartment.
The bathroom is quite hidden into the unit, because the door is from the same material and in the same surface as the other panels.
The bathroom has simple clean white tiles with a grey floor tiling.
It fits in with the rest of the apartment. So underneath the bed behind the kitchen there's a pretty big storage space where the washing machine is and where all the other stuff can be stored. In the future, the pressure on the city is getting stronger, which means that all the apartments are getting smaller and smaller.
This product of a small apartment is getting more common. I think if you make something special out of it, something personal, then it can really become a good design.
What does a magazine look like when you jam it full of intoxicating Greekness, dreamlike logic, Campeggio's convertible creations, roboty sculptures, Jaime Hayon's contagious creative compulsions, intimate home portraits from Japan, and Enzo Mari-inspired creatures? Well, it looks like this, and this, and this, and this. And it includes sexy as hell small apartments from Amsterdam, Athens and Milan too, as well as a spectacular archive of stickers and labels telling stories of design histories. And it also features the 100% definitive and scientifically proven principles of timeless design.
Disclaimer, not 100% definitive or scientifically proven.
Wait, there's more. There is a salami factory turned art museum, and there are very unkitcheny kitchens, laundries, legacies, mythology, and some seriously hot pots. Oh my. Get your copy now.
The design concept of Cabin Anna is really that instead of having a static house with closed boundaries, you actually have a transformative cabin where the boundaries are constantly adjusted by yourself with your own muscle power to what's happening around you. What basically sparked the beginning of Cabin Anna is that my father, he passed away at a young age. He was 55 years old. I was 21 at that time. And in that period, I started having very vivid dreams of him. He would come back to me and he kind of told me, you have to go into nature. He was a nature man. What happened is that I basically did the most literal thing you can do. I designed a house that can open up to nature. I started to heal. I was surrounded by life. I literally came to life. So the first Anna that I built was actually for my mother. Her name is Anna. It's become a really important place for the whole family. Anna is just a place to be, that's it. A place to be. This Cabin Anna is located in Wildlife Reserve the Biesbos. It's a freshwater delta, the only one in Europe. I didn't choose this location. Actually, we got in touch with the wildlife organization. They were looking for a structure that would actually help people open up to the environment and feel at one with nature. This cabin is 30 square meters in its compact form and it can expand to 50 square meters. Another thing that was really important to me in Cabin Anna is the fact that it's demountable. So the whole cabin sits on a screw foundation. So it means that when we leave, you can take the cabin apart, pack it up in your truck and move it somewhere else. So that means that when we leave with Cabin Anna, we don't leave anything behind. This cabin roughly consists of 3 parts. There would be the fixed house. It has inside the kitchen, it has the bathroom, toilet and shower. There's a technical room which you can enter from the back side of the cabin. The other part has the sliding glass layer and the wooden glass layer. Underneath that part there is a bed in the ground that can be stored, and there's a bath in the ground also. And it has a mezzanine with an extra bed upstairs. So on top of that there's what we always call like the bonus layout, is that when you push out the glass you actually create a double-sized space of 50 square meters, so you can basically host a dinner or a yoga retreat or whatever event you can imagine. When you arrive in the cabin, there's a place to leave your coat. In the main living space, you see these long elongated windows, and they have 2 purposes. One is that you always have some kind of connection with the outdoors. And the other thing is that they don't allow for any direct sunlight in the summer. So on hot summer days, the main space actually keeps very cool. And then the first thing that will strike you is all these trusses. Because basically the sliding shells only have 2 walls to rely on instead of a normal house which has 4 walls, there is a challenge in its rigidity. By using these trusses, which are cross-braced and reinforced, you make sure that when the wind blows from one side, that your cabin doesn't blow over like that. You see similar constructions, for example, often in railway stations, because the train has to go through on two sides. We put a lot of effort in the thermal envelope, and we equip the cabin with HR++ glazing, for example, to make sure that even when it's really cold outside, you're going to have a very cozy space inside. The bed is foldable under the ground with a winch system. And that was very important to us because in the first cabin I built for Mum, we had a fixed bed, and every time we wanted to change the use of the cabin, it meant that we had to take out the bed. So being able to fold the bed under the ground just in a couple of minutes means that you're very flexible in the use of your space. Once you store the bed, you kind of have an open plan cabin, so you can host like a dinner, or you can have friends over, or you can have yoga sessions. So the bath in the ground is revealed in a similar way as the bed. It has these floor pieces that you can just lift off, and then there's a special storage to fit them under the ground. I wanted to create this kind of Zen experience. When you're in the bath, you're not disturbed by any lids that are up or hinges that are sticking out. So yeah, to me, the favorite part of the cabin is really the bath under the floor. You cannot get closer to the essence of life. We like to create these little inventions throughout the cabin, and one of them I think is particularly exciting is what we call the inverted Dutch bike brake system. The moment you start squeezing this brake, the brake releases from the rails and you can easily move the 3,000 kilos. But the moment you want to stop, you just let go and automatically it starts braking on the rails, and it helps slow down the cabin shell very quickly. To make most use of the small kitchen space, we actually created a galley kitchen. It's a combination of stainless steel and the birch ply, and we like to work with stainless steel because it's very durable, it's a very beautiful material. It has all the basic amenities that you need, so there's a stove, there's a refrigerator here, and then on the other side you have grid that allows for mechanical heating if your wood stove shouldn't be enough. In the earlier cabins we didn't have much storage. It becomes messy quite quickly, so one thing that we wanted to redesign is actually to have a lot of big storage space that you can fold nicely away. And we just wanted to have like sort of one central storage compartment. And you can fold your folding table in there. This place is about connecting not just to the environment, but also to yourself, to food. So then we arrive at the bathroom. On your left side there's a shower. It's clad in stainless steel to make sure that it's fully waterproof, and it's a very aesthetic material. And then we clad that with Akoya wood to give that like cozy feel. And we picked Akoya because it performs very well in a humid environment. So in the toilet we use the same principle actually. At the bottom it's clad in stainless steel, so fully waterproof. And then we clad that in Akoya wood, and above that we use birch plywood. And then we have this big piece of glass in between the toilet and the shower, so you still feel that strong connection with the outdoors when you're having a shower. Yeah, so we made these wooden hooks everywhere in the cabin just to blend away in the environment, and they're very useful to hang whatever you want. Above the kitchen there's the mezzanine, and we created an extra sleeping place there for when you have guests over. And there's basically the same size bed as we have downstairs, with a little bit of extra storage space on each side. In the mezzanine we have a small extra vent to make sure that you can blow some cool air in the hot summer days. This cabin is completely off-grid. We pump up our water from about 30 meters below the cabin. The wastewater goes into a 3-phase sewage system, which means that it's actually so clean that it can go directly back into the wildlife reserve. The fireplace is connected to the boiler. In the summer, you have your hot water from your solar energy from the roof, but in the winter, when there's not so much sun here in the Netherlands, you actually heat your boiler water just by heating your wood stove. I think one thing that Anna is also really about is that sort of trying to inspire that you can actually put a lot of quality and a lot of functionality in a very small space. So you don't have to live in a 100 or 200 square meter house to actually have architecturally very high quality space.
This building is located in the center of Amsterdam along the canals and the UNESCO World Heritage Site. This building has about 10 units, and all of the units are about 20 square meters, and this particular unit is about 15.8 square meters. So the client's brief was to have a pied-à-terre that they could come to, enjoy, relax, and wind with the comforts of home, but in a luxury setting. It was very important to have a color palette that was warm and comfortable, and that's something that I think ties with the Dutch spirit of gezelligheid, which is comfort and coziness. We kept the floor plan as it was. One of the challenges was being an old building, there were no parallel lines. We tried to follow the periphery of the walls and clean it up so that it would have a nice straight and clean streamlined look. We wanted to accomplish a luxury feeling with all of the amenities as the client wished, and also having it be quiet and clean and comfortable. We also played with different luxury materials and different finishes and focus on aspects of art to bring focal points throughout the experience of the space. We used the frame TV from Samsung along with also a framed piece of art from Casper Fassen so that it would integrate as an art wall. The window seat serves many functions, from having dinner to relaxing with a glass of wine to also just enjoying the city outside the window. There is enough space if someone wanted to lay down and sleep, they could as well. Important for the design is the use of high quality leather, integrating the heating, and also having storage underneath to allow for extra functionality. The client chose to have a bed that was always open and not to have a bed that tucks away into the wall. In the bedroom, the bed head has a gunmetal frame with a velvet upholstery that creates a bit of warmth as well as elegance that refers back to sort of the elegance of the building itself. We've integrated a lot of outlets behind a lot of the cabinet doors so that it has no visual clutter. We want it to be clean and neat. The kitchen, the materials we used were a millwork wood finish with push-to-open cabinets. The key focal point is being the onyx niche, where you have a completely integrated onyx sink. There is an induction cooktop with 2 burners integrated. There's a wine cooler integrated. Being centrally located in the city, the idea wasn't to have full meals necessarily here. For the bathroom, we wanted it to be a really special space with fully enclosing it with marble. Because the bathroom is one unified space, we created a moment for a piece of art. And it was done expressly asymmetrical so that it could be visible from the access to the shower area. The marble millwork hides all of the extra storage for shampoo and your toilet paper dispenser. That's all concealed. The door to go into the bathroom is very thick, and that serves 2 functions. One, in order to provide a bit of privacy, as well as integrating the stone on the wall. We tried to maximize the amount of storage. So we've storage not only in the cabinetry within the kitchen, but as well under the bed and under the window seat. A big thing for us in this old building was also to respect the past and to try and introduce a way to bring a more modern way of construction into the interior. You have on the ceiling, for example, the beams with a shiny gloss, and then the ceiling has a satin to create a bit of a contrast and also to articulate sort of the charm of the old characteristics of this old building. The technology in this apartment was really important for the client. They wanted to have it as integrated as possible. There's one screen that controls all of the lighting and the heating, and including an integrated subwoofer that's concealed behind the millwork and the roll shades as well. I think it's absolutely important to consider repurposing old buildings and old spaces. This is a great example of how that can be done even at 15.8 square meters. The value of living in a city is you have these great amenities outside your window. You have the greatest living room you could ever want on the canals in the city of Amsterdam.